Guys, I'm here to talk to you about my first experience in modeling. It was something that I always wanted to do, but I just never thought I could because I am a plus size model, and before I knew that there was plus size modeling, I just thought that there was, like the only size was traditional model, which is the straight sizes, which is like size 4 and under, and I'm definitely not that. I don't even know when I was a 4 in my life. So, I'm walking in my local mall with my grandma. This is my senior year of high school. So I was like 17 going into 18 in that summer once I graduated. So I'm walking in the mall and there's like this model search that you could like fill out, and it says like a competition that the mall would be holding from this company or by this company called Coast to Coast Modeling Agency. So, okay, I'll just fill it out. I'm like, you never know. And I just put like my age, my address, how tall I am, stuff like that. They don't ask me for like there was no pictures or anything. And then you put in like a Dropbox, and then I guess they just call you if they want you. So they call me. They're like, hey, come out to our audition tomorrow, whatever, and then we'll decide if we want you in the competition or not. So I end up going, and this was like a runway set up right in the middle of the mall. Like the way that the mall is, it's like a wing down here and then a wing down this way, but in the middle it's like the food court and all that. So so they're like, okay, we need you to read this and then go on stage, and then try not to look at the paper, like try to memorize it as best as you can. So I go up there, something I've never really done before, like talk in front of that many people, especially people who weren't even watching, like just bystanders who just happened to be in the mall that they could still see. And the way that the food court was at the time, it was upstairs, so everybody was just looking down on you. It was just so hectic. So, I read the lyrics, I read the lines, and okay, so they're like, yeah, we like you and all that stuff. Like, they called your number out that night. So we go back there, we're talking to the like head guy who is part of it, and he's like, yeah, now you're part of the competition. We need you to come and do like practices and stuff like that, because the competition consisted of commercial, like one commercial and then one runway walk. And the commercial could be anything that you wanted it to be. So, and we got to take pictures, but you had to buy a book. That was the only thing that I actually had to pay for in this whole thing. Like, we got t-shirts and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's not a scam. They're not asking for money or anything, which I had heard not to, like, work with an agency, you ask you for money up front. So as the practices are going on, they're starting to notice like certain people more and more. So like they pick out people to be sort of like their interns. And what my specific job was whenever I wasn't practicing was like in different divisions they'd have me recording the shows so it could like show on these TVs that were like beside the runway, like make sure I zoom in on their numbers and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, like I thought I was in a model search, which I was still in the competition, but I'm like, okay, if they have employees already that's here, why am I doing this? But I'm like, okay, maybe they just really like me and they're like gonna offer me like a better position than just being a model. So I'm like, actually with the company, I don't like you won a year-long contract for basically with this agency. So I did the competition. It was great and all that, and like the way that the company went, they went like to this mall for like a couple of weeks or whatever, and then they kept moving from mall to mall. But the red flag was I couldn't find anything on their company at all. Like I had to do some serious searching to find the website, and that was just like, okay, but I'm like, no, I don't think that my mall would host like something that's a scam. So I just kept going, and the competition goes on. I do good, and then like a week later, or not even a week later, like a month later, they said they would email you a packet if you want a contract with your contract in it. I never signed anything. They just said, oh, congratulations, you won the contract or whatever, here's your password. And so they sent me the pictures that I had won, the book that I bought, the paper saying I won the contract, and then the password, and then this advertisement for this logo or like this post-sport company to get comp cards printed out. So I did all that, and I go online, password and everything, and it's like a link to like, or like it's like a website for like all these auditions, but they were like crazy auditions, like, oh, we're looking for like a woman who's like at least 70, has to be Mexican, can't be no taller than this, has to be in Los Angeles by tomorrow. But like all the auditions were crazy, like specific like that. And I know like this industry knows exactly what they want, but like they were legit auditions. Because they were for movies that were actually coming out. Totally got bummed out, and I was so excited to win this. Yeah, I didn't even know what, like, if I knew what I know now back then, I wouldn't have even entertained that. That was just so crazy. And then I'm like, okay, so it's something I really want to do now. Like at that point, I'm like, okay, like this is something I have to do. Because at that point, I knew about plus size modeling and stuff like that. After I started looking into it more, seeing like, oh, I have this opportunity and all this stuff. So once, you know, I was kind of like at a dead point at that end. So yeah, that was my first taste of modeling, but things happen for a reason. I'm glad I learned that lesson, and I'm glad I did not spend too much money, or, you know, that didn't get my money's worth. Like what I paid for is something that I actually received, like the book of pictures and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm signed with an agency in New York City, and I probably wouldn't have got where I'm at now if I hadn't gone through what I did before. So yeah, any questions, please comment below. And please subscribe.